Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. This is my own take on these characters and what might unfold in their beautiful story. You know what's beautiful about love? It's not always the grand gestures or the dramatic declarations. Sometimes it's found in the simple rhythm of everyday life, in the way two people work side by side, in the meals they share, in the promises they keep to their children. Today, I want to tell you about James and Diep. Their story isn't filled with dramatic twists or shocking reveals. Instead, it's something far more precious. It's about the kind of love that shows up in the small moments, the kind that builds a family one day at a time. Picture this: James standing in the garden, wiping sweat from his brow as he surveys the watermelons growing in the morning sun. He's been gone for a while, working to provide for his family. But now he's home, and you can see it in his eyes. That quiet determination, that simple joy of being back where he belongs. "I can't believe we're already harvesting," he says to Diep, his voice filled with wonder. It's the kind of amazement that comes from watching something you planted with your own hands finally bear fruit. The watermelons are huge, ripe, ready, just like the life they're building together. Creator's commentary number 1. What I love about James is how he finds joy in these simple victories. A CEO who left everything behind doesn't complain about dirt under his fingernails or sweat on his back. He celebrates watermelons. He keeps promises to his daughter. That's the kind of man who builds a real home, not just a house. That's the kind of father every child deserves. But here's where the story gets even more beautiful. James made a promise to his daughter Nee, a simple promise, the kind fathers make every day. He told her he'd build something special for her. And when James makes a promise, he keeps it. "I'll make it for Nee," he tells Diep as he gathers wood. "I promised her I would." Diep watches him with those knowing eyes. She understands what this means. It's not just about building a swing. It's about showing their daughter that words matter. That when someone you love makes a promise, they follow through. That's the foundation of trust. That's how you build a family that lasts. James starts working in the heat of the day. The sun beats down mercilessly. 2.3 meters high, he calculates, 40 centimeters deep for stability. He's not just building a swing. He's building security, safety, joy. Every measurement matters because his daughter matters. Diep moves between the kitchen and the yard, watching him work. She's cooking braised pork, boiling vegetables, preparing the kind of meal that fills both stomach and soul. But her eyes keep drifting to James, to the way his shirt clings to his back with sweat, to the determination in every motion. "Are you hot?" she calls out. "I'll turn on the fan for you." "No need," James replies, focused on his work. But she brings him water anyway, because that's what love does. It anticipates needs before they're spoken. The work is harder than James expected. His hands, once accustomed to signing documents and shaking hands in boardrooms, now grip rough wood and dig into stubborn earth. 4 holes dug, and he's sweating profusely. But he doesn't stop. He doesn't complain. "He's sweating so much," Diep says softly, concern threading through her voice. "I don't think we need to finish it today. Just do as much as you can." But here's what nobody saw coming. James shakes his head with a gentle smile. "Just a few more steps," he says. "Just a little more work and it'll be done." You see, this isn't about pride. It's not about proving anything. It's about that promise to Nee, about the image he has in his mind of her face when she sees what he's built for her. Some things are worth the extra effort. Some promises demand everything you have. Diep understands. Of course she does. So she goes back to the kitchen and makes sure dinner will be ready when he's finished. She prepares his favorite dishes. The braised pork that's been simmering all afternoon, fresh vegetables from their garden, tomatoes they grew themselves. "Let's eat dinner," she finally calls out when she sees him putting down his tools. "I see you're very tired. I've cooked the rice. Take a break and eat." James washes his hands and they sit down together in the heat of the evening. The fan whirs softly. The smell of home-cooked food fills the air, and in this moment, everything feels right. "It's been so long since I've eaten your cooking," James says, and there's such tenderness in those words, such gratitude. They pray together, thanking God for the food, for each other, for this life they're building. And then they eat. Simple food made extraordinary by the hands that prepared it and the love that seasoned it. But that's just the beginning of something beautiful, because the swing isn't finished yet. And tomorrow, when their daughter comes home, her whole world is about to change. Last we left off with James and Diep sharing that intimate dinner together, exhausted but content. The swing was nearly complete, and you could feel the anticipation building. Let me tell you what happens next. The next morning arrives with golden sunlight streaming through the windows. James wakes early, his muscles sore from yesterday's work, but his spirit is light. Today is the day. Today he'll finish what he started. Diep is already in the kitchen, and the smell of breakfast fills their home. But James barely eats. His mind is on those final details, the measurements that need to be perfect, the string that needs to be tied just right. "Let me help you," Diep offers, following him outside after breakfast. And here's where their partnership really shines. They work together like they've done this 1,000 times before. James measures and marks. Diep holds the posts steady while he secures them. 9 here, 5.7 there. Every number matters. Every angle needs to be exact. "Hold it while I rake the soil," he tells her. "It'll be faster." She doesn't hesitate, doesn't complain about the heat or the dirt. She just does what needs to be done. Because that's what partners do. They show up. They support. They build together. The sun climbs higher, beating down without mercy. James's mouth goes crooked, the way it always does when he's concentrating hard. Diep notices, and despite the seriousness of the work, she can't help but smile. These little quirks, these familiar gestures. This is the stuff that real love is made of. "Go inside, it's too sunny," James tells her, concerned. "I can do it alone." But Diep shakes her head. "I want to watch you do it." Creator's commentary number 2. Here's what touches me about this moment. Diep doesn't need to be there. The work would get done without her. But she chooses to stay, to be present, to witness her husband keeping his promise. That's the kind of support that makes a marriage strong. Not just helping with the task, but honoring the meaning behind it. You know what that means? It means she sees him, really sees him. Not the former CEO, not the man who gave up everything, but the father, the husband, the man who keeps his promises even when his hands hurt and his back aches. James adds the final support posts, cuts the excess wood, ties the string with practiced knots. And then comes the moment of truth. He steps back, wipes his brow, and looks at what he's created. "Try it out," he tells Diep, a hint of pride in his voice. "Try sitting on it." Diep approaches the swing carefully. She settles onto the seat, testing its strength. James gives it a gentle push, and she glides through the air, back and forth, smooth and steady. "This is really sturdy," she says, and you can hear the relief in her voice. "I think the little girl will be very happy." And there it is, that phrase, "The little girl will be very happy." Not just happy, very happy. Because Diep knows her daughter, knows how much this will mean, knows that James has created something that will hold not just her physical weight, but the weight of her childhood memories. They clean up the work area together, put away the extra poles, sweep away the sawdust, and all the while, anticipation builds. Soon they'll pick up the kids from school. Soon, Nee will see what her father has made for her. The afternoon heat is almost overwhelming as they drive to the school. "Wow, it's so sunny," Diep says, squinting against the brightness. But James doesn't mind. Nothing can diminish the joy he feels right now. The exhaustion from 2 days of hard work fades in the face of what's about to happen. And then, something beautiful happened. They arrive home with the children. The kids are chattering, tired from their school day, not expecting anything special. Just another afternoon at home. But James has other plans. "Today, Dad has a very special gift for my daughter," he announces, his voice warm with excitement. "Come with Dad, daughter. Come here." You can imagine little Nai's confusion, her curiosity. She takes her father's hand, trusting him completely. That's the thing about children. They trust so easily when that trust has never been broken. "Are you ready?" James asks. "Yes, I'm ready," Nai responds, her small voice filled with anticipation. "Get ready. 2, 3, open your eyes." The transition from this moment to what comes next is everything. Because in the space of a heartbeat, everything changes. A promise kept becomes a memory made. Hard work transforms into pure joy. And a simple swing becomes a symbol of everything this family stands for. Picture Nai's face in that moment, her eyes wide with wonder, her mouth forming a perfect circle of surprise. Because there, in their yard, stands the most beautiful swing she's ever seen. Strong posts reaching toward the sky, smooth wood that her father measured and cut with his own hands. A seat that looks like it was made just for her, because it was. "Do you like it?" James asks, though he already knows the answer. You can always tell from a child's eyes. "Yes, I do!" Nai exclaims, and the pure delight in her voice makes every sore muscle, every drop of sweat, every hour of work completely worth it. James lifts his daughter onto the swing. His hands, roughened by labor but gentle with love, make sure she's secure, safe. Then he steps back and gives her the first push, and she flies, back and forth through the warm afternoon air. Her laughter rings out like music, like the sweetest sound a father could ever hope to hear. This is what it's all about. Not the swing itself, but this moment, this joy, this trust. "Dad will swing you," James says, pushing her higher. Not too high, just enough to make her feel like she's floating, like she's touching the sky. Diep stands nearby, watching with tears in her eyes. Happy tears, grateful tears. Because she sees what this means. She sees her husband's promise fulfilled. She sees her daughter's happiness. She sees their family growing stronger with every passing day. Let me tell you something. This right here, this is the foundation. Not the wooden posts buried 40 centimeters deep in the ground, but the trust built between father and daughter. The partnership between husband and wife. The love that shows up in actions, not just words. Every time you're home, you come here and sit and play. "Yes, Dad," Nai says between giggles. "I spent the whole day working on this for you," James tells her, and his voice carries no complaint, only satisfaction, only love. "Thank you so much, Dad," Nai responds, and those 4 words contain everything. Gratitude. Love. Recognition. She understands, even at her young age, that this swing represents something bigger than just a place to play. Creator's commentary number 3. This is the part that gives me hope. In a world that moves so fast, that values wealth and status above all else, here's a former CEO who found something more valuable. He found purpose in keeping promises to his child. He found joy in working with his hands. He found love in the simple rhythm of family life. That's not losing everything. That's finding what matters most. As the afternoon fades into evening, Nai continues to swing. Back and forth, back and forth. The motion is hypnotic, peaceful. And James watches her with a contentment he never felt in any boardroom. Diep leans against him, and they stand there together, watching their daughter play. The garden around them is flourishing. The watermelons are ripe. The vegetables are growing. The corn is tall. Everything they've planted with care and patience is bearing fruit. And not just in the garden, in their family too. You see, the question wasn't really whether building a swing would make their family stronger. The answer was already there in every meal they shared, every task they completed together, every promise they kept. The swing is just a symbol, a beautiful, tangible symbol of what they're building every single day. But here's what I believe comes next. This is just the beginning of their story. Because when a family learns to find joy in the simple things, when they learn to work together and support each other, when they learn that love isn't about grand gestures but consistent presence, that's when something truly magical starts to happen. The warmth they've created in their home, the happiness radiating from that little girl on her swing, the contentment on James's face as he watches his promise fulfilled. All of this is going to ripple outward. It's going to touch other people's lives in ways they can't even imagine yet. What I think comes next will warm your heart even more. Because this family's journey is just beginning. And the most beautiful moments, the ones that will show us what true happiness really looks like, are still ahead. The seeds they've planted, in their garden and in their hearts, are about to bloom in the most wonderful ways.